This is a call-in live show where you, the viewer, call me and we discuss addiction recovery and the strength, hope, and experience that entails. Hi, my name is James. I'm an addicted addict. I'm an alcoholic and addict. I'm in recovery. I'm grateful. The number's on the screen. Feel free to call me and we shall discuss the topic tonight. Alcoholism is a disease of the mind. What's the medicine? It's a disease of self. How do we get out of self? What it is, Vince, how's it going? A disease of the mind, what does that mean? Well, it means, have you ever noticed that your best thinking got you drunk again? That's the disease in a nutshell. Have you noticed that you get in your own way? Have you ever heard that song, I'm My Own Worst Enemy? How you doing, Tom Sock? What's the dealio? Call me if you want. Call in live. Talk about how our mind is our own worst enemy. I have to get myself out of the way. Once I accepted this, my best thinking can be the problem in any given situation, whether I'm drunk or not. Alcoholism is a lifelong disease. It can only be treated. But what is the medicine? Well, upon accepting that my mind is the enemy and my best thinking gets me drunk and my best thinking messes up solutions, I had to look for a power greater than myself that can restore me and my problems to their beneficial solution. So, what have I been doing since I stopped drinking? Once you stop drinking, the problem is still there. Alcohol, drugs, we just use them as a perceived solution to the actual problem. Our problem is thinking. So what do? Well, I came to believe in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous as a power greater than me, and it hasn't disappointed. I put it to the test. I now ignore my thinking when a problem arises. I ignore my thinking, my best ideas, my opinions, my best arguments. Trash. Or in this extreme, in early sobriety, this is how I treated my best ideas and my best thinking. And if you guys can relate, they don't leave you alone. This is an age-old spiritual practice of remaining in the moment, meditation, no mind, never mind, stuff like that. Well, I have a cheat sheet now, and I've been doing it for 8 months, and it is surprisingly effective. And it's 12 principles long, and they are the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. So whenever I have a problem, I go in to my phone screen, which I have the principles on there, and I look for the principle I'm not practicing or the one I can apply to the specific problem. If you would like to call in with a problem, maybe we can workshop this thing together. I've been testing it with surprising results for 8 months long. I'll just give an example. I haven't had a job, really, in 6 years. I've been working on the channel. I watch dogs on the side, and I swing trade stocks. Stock market, as you know, the stocks I was trading in went down. The stock market's up. Has been for 4 years. But the problem is, whatever the problem is, these principles can apply. Hey, Holly, I sent you the principles, correct. Holly had a problem. I told her, this is what I do, and I checked these principles. So the problem, an example problem is I haven't had a job for 6 years, so I don't have a work history. I've been applying for places, they want a work history. So I said, you know what? Instead of thinking my way through this, I'm going to apply the principles of the program. So the 12 principles are honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, willingness, humility, love, discipline, perseverance, spirituality, and service. The third principle is faith. This applies because faith returns me to the current moment. If I choose to say God's will be done, that's my magic statement. It works wonders. Honesty, when I was filling out an application. So with faith, I live in the moment and I say God's will be done, so I'm able to do things one at a time. So I filled out an application, one step at a time, having faith that it was the right thing to do. I was willing to fill out an application, one step at a time. Willingness is one of the principles. Discipline. I was disciplined to fill out an application one step at a time. But the main one that came in was honesty. What do I put in for my work history? Well, I honestly put content creator on the popular video hosting site YouTube, comprehensive knowledge of information technology systems, public relations, financial management. I've accumulated 29,273 followers. I had 37 paying members at the time. So I put all that in, all honestly. So that was and this is the job I really want. And I applied the principles to the problem of, well, I was thinking too much. I was thinking they're not going to hire a YouTuber. I was picturing, this is your mind. This is how my mind is the sickness. Alcoholism is a disease of the mind. And here's what I was doing. I was projecting into the future. I wasn't being humble. Humility isn't just, I'm not the man. It is also, I'm not no one. Which, when I was filling out the application, I honestly put all the skills it takes to maintain a YouTube channel for 6 years. So for 6 years, I've been having trouble conceiving, applying for a job because I'm like, I don't have a job history. I'll get all in my head. I'm thinking. This is where faith comes in. Discipline to practice these principles in all of my affairs comes in. Willingness to actually fill out the application. Courage. I fear that they're going to say certain things like, you know what? In my mind, I'm thinking, as soon as they get my application, they're going to be like, hey, Phil, come over here. Look at this idiot. He's a YouTuber. He thinks he's going to get a job here. And they're going to be pointing and laughing. Well, as silly as that may sound, courage is moving forward regardless of fear. So I did it anyway. And I don't have the job yet. And I'll tell you what principle I will practice. Oh, hope is also a principle to practice. These aren't my ideas. That's the main point. This comes from a power greater than myself. The program of Alcoholics Anonymous. It says, practice these principles in all of my affairs. So I don't think. Early in my sobriety here, I'm on 8 months and 1 day sober from alcohol and other drugs. And I am not, I've found out, here's the deal. I went to AA for the drinking. I stayed for the thinking. I went to AA to learn how to stop drinking. I stayed in AA to learn how to stop thinking. They told me alcoholism is a disease of self. It's a disease of mind. With humility, I am practicing humility and therefore not thinking of myself as much. You may say, what an egomaniac. He thinks about himself all the time. Well, get honest with yourself. You may realize that 24/7 you're thinking of yourself as well. Are you worried? Are you depressed? You're either thinking about your future, what you want, or you're thinking about your past and all of that. When you let that go with faith, hope, humility, when you start to practice letting it go, because it doesn't just happen once you're like, oh, my thinking is the problem, and from that moment on you don't think. It's all about relying on a power greater than yourself. I am the problem, not alcohol. Alcohol is a symptom of the problem. Do you worry about explaining what your content is? I thought about putting it down that I do this as well on my next job search. No, I put Sober James. My email that they're contacting me at is the Sober James. I think I might have put, no, I don't know if I put addiction. It was irrelevant. I might have put addiction recovery YouTube content. I don't remember that, if I put that in the explanation. I didn't think it was, I think I didn't because it wasn't relevant. I just put full-time content creator. And like, for real, I was talking myself down thinking they're going to laugh and shit. But then with humility, humility is basically acknowledgement of the truth. I'm not unemployed. I don't have a job where I clock in and a social and a W-2, but I'm not unemployed. I've worked extremely hard on this channel, and I've learned a lot, and it takes a lot to manage a lot of stuff, and you learn a lot along the way. That's humility. I'm sure I don't have a W-2 job, but I'm definitely not unemployed. Humility is coming in right in the middle. It's the truth. It's being honest. With humility comes the recognition that you're not the bottom of the barrel. You're definitely not the top. You're definitely not the bottom. Just tell the truth. I put my Navy career on there and everything. So I wish, it'd be better if I was telling this story after I got the job, but the good news is they continue to ask for more information as if they're considering me. The bottom line is, I didn't apply my thinking. I didn't apply my mind. I had faith in a power greater than myself, which is the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, when I'm thinking, am I going to get the job? And I'm worried, did I put the right things? What do I put here? What do I put there? God's will be done is my sentence that I say. I don't understand God, but I have a concept of a greater power than myself. And all I know is when I say God's will be done, I relax. And that is priceless. God's will be done. You could also say shit happens if you don't want it. If you're scared of the God word, shit happens basically means the same thing. What it is what it is another way to say it. You can find your own way to say it, but it's basically like, I don't need to think about it. I'm not going to figure it out. It is what it is. Here's the truth. I humbly bring the truth to you. There it is. Now, here we go. We got a phone caller. Well, good.
Call from.
Hey, this is Carl.
Hey, Carl, how's it going? You're live on Sober James. What's up?
Hey, James. What's going on, buddy?
Thanks for calling, man.
Thank you, man. I spoke to you last week for the first time, and I enjoyed our conversation. I watched your videos. I've been watching them, keeping up with you for several years now. And I love your message. I love your resilience. And just want to connect with you, man. If find out, that thing with the post office don't work out, if you'd like to maybe do some alternative work.
Oh, right on. Yeah, you offering me a job?
Yes, you'd have to maybe relocate probably to Louisiana.
Yeah, what do you do over there?
Well, I have a ranch working the land, and got to reach out to nursing home for one, and work with the Catholic school in the area. I noticed you accepted God as our creator, and so it's Christian. I'm a Catholic, but it doesn't have to be for you. It could just be the Christian aspect of it.
Yeah, right on. Well, I don't know if I'd call myself a Christian, but labels are labels.
Well, being a Christian don't mean having a halo on your head. Christians have done horrendous things through the centuries. I'm sure you're familiar with that, but it's just basically a day-to-day. That's why we have, basically we do a step 5 every week when going to confession with a priest, which is amazing. Once I got in the program, I realized, well, hey, this is, same prayer, same step 5, and step 8 and 9 is another part of the religion.
Yeah. These are the steps are spiritual practices for sure.
And I also have an outreach with AA and some of the treatment centers. Just go and talk to people, because as you know for yourself, when you're sobering up, it's horrible. As far as mentally, it's not a good place to be, man.
No, but I am grateful. I don't know if I would have had a spiritual awakening if I wasn't an alcoholic. If I didn't have the complex problem of alcoholism to solve, I don't know if I would have had a spiritual awakening as a result of the 12 steps. But
yeah, and that's the thing with the 12 steps, and being a Christian, you realize that. Excuse me, got a little summer cold from working out in the garden and going in the house and had air conditioning, drinking cold water. It's stupid, but with Christianity, just like with our alcoholism, we fail daily. I know part of the doctrine of Christianity, Paul said in the Bible, I die daily. Which is basically, admitting that daily he has to make a reprieve and realize he has 24 hours to be the best Christian he can. And shit. I'm Christian, but I still look at women. I still get thoughts of,
one day at a time.
I still think of a drink every now and then. Can't watch a damn. I'm watching World War Z right now, and every other 5 minutes, somebody's sitting down having a drink at a meeting or something. I say, hey, this. And the bad part is, we thought that was normal. Which, for some people, we both admit. I got friends still that they have a couple of beers at a football game, and it's no problem for them. But you know what, buddy? If you put that beer in my hand, that's ass. You better have a case in there just with my name on it.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
So, I never did the whole drug situation. I couldn't. Thank God. I had broken a leg, a bone in my leg years ago, and they gave me some opioids for pain, and I couldn't take them because all I would do is sleep, and it messed my stomach up.
Right.
So I had like 30 of them left, and I remember my partner Chuck. I told him, I said, man, I'm getting ready to throw this shit away. He said, what the fuck for? And I told him, I said, I hate it, man. I said, all I do is sleep when I'm on it. And he told me he would get all hyperactive, and pot made me stupid, more stupid than I already am. But years and years, like the both of us, I always thought that alcohol was, at least I'm not doing drugs or, whatever.
Well, alcohol's a drug, brother. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, exactly. I found out the hard way, man. I went through detox after. I stopped drinking for 17 and a half years, never got in a program, and then I broke my jaw and had to get surgery done. Surgery failed, so one day I was coming back from an appointment at the dentist, and I pulled into a nice high-end store and got a couple of six-packs of some Italian beer. And went home, and I was going to drink one beer and give the rest to my yard man. Mm-hmm. And that didn't work out too good because I drank 3 of them the first day and then waited 2 days. And well, anyway, within 2 months, I was drinking 3 six-packs a day, man, and lying to myself like, hey, at least I'm not drinking whiskey.
Right.
But then I started doing crazy. You know how your mind gets. That's why you have a sex inventory. I never really messed around on my wife, but I would sit down and drink and watch porn all day long, and I was 47 at the time, 48. That's something a 60-year-old would do,
Yeah, it's kind of all the same. We try to take the easier, softer way to feel better.
Oh yeah. Watching. So it was going to be like a 2.5-year healing process with the mouth. The dentist had told me that from the start.
Uh-huh.
Having to redo surgeries, and so for the 2.5 years I drank. I mean, what else can you do? I was retired, and my God. But man, anyway, getting back to the subject,
working the principles, working the steps and the principles, applying them to our day-to-day problems, or when we're feeling restless, irritable, and discontent. How do you do that yourself, Carl? Or the spiritual principles of Christianity, applying those to feeling restless, irritable, and discontent is the cause of our seeking alcohol. So what do you do instead of drinking yourself, as far as spiritual principles or the spiritual 12 steps, or how do you apply them in your life instead of drinking?
Help as many people as I can. Work with the dirt. Oftentimes I'll take my shoes off so I can walk in the wet grass.
Service is the 12th principle, and alcoholism is a disease of self as well, and the medicine for that is to get out of yourself by helping another person.
Yeah, because my mind is a dangerous place to be sometimes. Not as much as it used to, because I've found since I surrendered and, did all the steps, but the first 3 were, very important to get started. Now, anybody that tells you step 4 is not fighting a shit, or step 8 and 9, they got rocks in their head.
Right.
So I'll redo step 4 once a year.
Oh, good.
Excuse me, a month. A whole step 4 once a month.
Step 4, for those of you who don't know, is taking a fearless and honest personal inventory of yourself. And the principle associated with step 4 is courage, made of a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. That means honestly admitting to ourselves in step 4, having the courage to honestly admit our faults, our character defects, our fears. And the way I apply that to problems, or when I'm feeling upset, is where am I at fault? Which character defect is running the show right now? Is it anger, fear, sloth? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, You know, when I was drinking, you couldn't tell me shit. I knew everything, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so humility is a big thing.
Right.
And you know
Humility.
what? It feels so damn good. You know, to be selfless is to be selfish because of the way it makes you feel about yourself, you know. You know, you're reading the Bible about the meek shall inherit the earth and blessed is a peacemaker. Hey, you know what? I was an altar boy. I was an Eagle Scout. I'd learned all that stuff, and I took a shit on it, and I wiped my ass with the pages when I was drinking.
Right, because we know better. Before
what?
before we discover that we ourselves are the problem, and before we discover that our self-will is run riot and that is the problem, and before we discover that we got a broken thinker, a disease of the mind, we are just doomed to go in circles in our own head about ourselves. How are we going to solve it? How is my idea the best? And how am I going to fix other people?
Yep. You know, and like you said, everybody else is to blame. Whenever I went to sober up after drinking like that, I can remember I went all the way back to kindergarten, man, and thinking crazy shit, and remembering when I was in the fourth or fifth grade when my dad had, you know, when I'd come back from communion, I'd wave at people that was in the church. My dad was raised very strictly Catholic, where when you got after you received your communion, you walk with your head down and, you know, meditate basically. And so he told me after that, you know, you shouldn't even go to church if you don't, you know, get serious after you take the body of Christ. And so I blamed him for, you know, me having some mixed feelings about church and stuff, and saying to myself, well, what kind of, you know, fucked up thing is that? Blamed, I got molested by, which you might think I should have thought myself to be the luckiest guy in the world, but I got molested by a female cousin when I was a kid, when I was 13. And then she shared me with her friends and stuff like that. I really at the time I thought, well, this is great, but it kind of messed me up sexually for the rest of my life with the way I viewed women.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So I blamed her, and you know, I realized, well, you know what? It's just like a dog walking the street. The dog's gonna have sex. And that dog's in heat with a human being, especially a guy, you know, especially when you're young. You know, if the wind blew too hard, I'd get a hard on James back then, you know.
Yeah, there's info about it in the big book. Sex powers are God-given and thus good. However, we have to take an inventory on whether or not we're using them selfishly, whether or not we're hurting other people in our selfish sexual drives and stuff like that. But sex powers are nothing to be ashamed of. They're for good. But I'm sorry to hear you got, because 13 or younger, or even, you know, a young age that's when most of us get messed up, whether it's from sex or overbearing parents or, you know, whatever happens. It's like a gauntlet. You just pray that nothing happens to, you know, your children if you have them, because formidable years is the key word.
So I like your story about when you got home and you felt flat on your face whenever your mom, you think your mom's or something like that. That's freaking. You want Xanax?
Yeah.
Benzos? That must have been a withdrawal, huh?
Oh yeah, Xanax and booze fell flat on my face, just like a tree falling over.
That's a hell of a combination, man.
And that benzos, barbiturates, and alcohol are the three drugs that can be deadly from withdrawal, and it's from complications from the central nervous system, seizures, stuff like that. But it was hardcore withdrawal, and I like to use that story to basically illustrate how powerless I was when I was using. You know, it didn't matter if the drugs and alcohol were around. I would use them until I either was floored, arrested, or dead. So I appreciate you listening.
Hello?
Yeah, man. Well, check it out. Let's. Well, thanks for calling in. I'm gonna give some more people a call. I'll open up the line, but thanks for your experience, strength, and hope, Carl.
Okay, man. Love you, buddy. Keep it up, man.
Love you too, brother. Hang in there. Later.
Bye.
Carl talking about the relationship between the spiritual principles of Christianity, Catholicism, and the relationship between those and the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. Step 6, to be more specific, step 5 is admitting our faults to ourselves. Step 6 is sharing them with yourself, another person, and God. Confession is what they call that in Catholicism. I myself am a recovering Catholic.
Call from
YouTube.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello, you're on the Sober James live call-in show.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, what's your name? I didn't catch it.
I'm Patrick.
Oh, hey, Patrick. What's up tonight? You having a good day, bad day?
I'm doing pretty good actually. I'm just getting some work done, and I've been watching your content for a little bit now, and it's really helped me with alcoholism. So I'm 26. I just turned 27, and alcohol has always been an issue in my life. I started drinking when I was in 19, but I didn't realize how big of an issue it was until I got into my late 20s, because you can't really go inside the store and buy it until you're 21. So, and I was smoking a lot of weed in my early 20s. I didn't really get into alcohol until my mid 20s. So once I was able to get it, and once I started drinking more, I realized this substance is really bad for me. But I've been clean for a month now, and what made me quit is just I'm agnostic, but every time I used to drink, I was a problem drinker, and it was just like a demon possessed me. I do shit that I would never do sober, and just to make it harder, I've been living in Eastern Europe for 2 years. And the culture here is just to drink. So I don't know if you know Polish people, Russians, they love to drink. So being around that, going to parties, going to bars, everyone's inviting me to drink, I just have to keep my mind strong and just stay away from it. But yeah, I think the thing that drove me to drink is anytime something bad would happen, or anytime I was disappointed, I'll just go to the store, pick up some vodka or pick up anything to drink. But now when something happens, I just accept it and just let it be, because it's not the end of the world. But it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Acceptance is big. Acceptance, in the big book, it said that acceptance is the answer to all of our problems. So that's good that you do that and let it go. And I like to say God's will be done. I've been agnostic my entire life. I was desperate enough this time to say, all right, AA, you guys call it God, show me how to believe. And he said, I had been worshiping my own thinking without knowing it. I had been worshiping my own ideas as the be all end all. And if you asked me and said, do you think you're the highest power? I would have said no, but I still would have told you all my opinions like they were facts, and all of my best ideas, I was doing them like they were the highest order. And my sponsor said, well, if you're not God, then don't put so much faith in your own thinking.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I'll look into AA one day, but my main focus is just getting away from the alcohol, which I've been doing successfully. But it won't hurt to try. Yeah,
I've done it. We all do have willpower, although it can be a bad thing, but it is finite. When if you live happily, joyously, and free, then you don't need AA. And if you're sober, you don't need AA. But it's always there. If you do ever need it, it's always there. You just look up AA.org It's always there, but if I came to AA to learn how to stop drinking, and I stayed in AA to learn how to stop thinking and to have faith. And you're damn straight when it comes to letting it go, and it is what it is, and let it be. That's I achieved that by saying, God's will be done. And I don't know what God is. I couldn't describe it to you. I don't, it never talks back. I don't, you know what I mean? But I do know that I'm not the highest power. And I do know that I fooled myself, and my alcoholism fooled myself into thinking I was, for years. I came up with my own methods and stuff, ways I could smoke weed instead of drinking, only drink on the weekends, or I've been years at a time without drinking, but the only problem is the alcoholism is the symptom. The problem still exists in our mind. It is alcoholism. But, you're sober at least, or you're dry from alcohol. So that's good news.
Yeah, and willpower is like it's like motivation. It only lasts for so long. One thing that helped me is my mindset. So I think of alcohol as a poison. I know if I drink this, I might end up hurting myself. I might end up hurting someone. I might embarrass myself. I might get arrested. I've done so much stupid shit on alcohol. So one thing that changed me is just my mindset. I don't even crave it anymore, because I just know it's going to lead down a dark path.
Well, that's good. I will say that willpower and all of that is finite, though. You may not be an alcoholic, you may be, but that's good that you're finding success with that.
I was just gonna add one last thing. A good support system is great too. My girlfriend supported me a lot. Getting sober, I didn't want to disappoint her. I didn't want to disappoint my family. They've all been very supportive, so that's one good thing. So it's really hard to do this alone. I would admit that.
Yeah.
Even YouTube, even watching your videos has helped me, and other YouTube channels.
Yeah, that's good. I appreciate that, man. I try to help. I try to serve others in the still suffering alcoholics and addicts out there, because that lets me get out of myself, and it is a disease of self. Yeah,
I agree. But thanks for having me on. I'm not going to hold you all day.
Yeah, man, hang in there. Hang in there. I wish you the best, and just know that Alcoholics Anonymous always has a seat open for you.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.
All right, brother. Later. The people that can stay away for any amount of time, Mafadio says, strong. We're all kind of strong. We all have powers of different. Some are more powerful than others. Some are stronger than others. But one thing's for sure, you're not more powerful than alcoholism. It's patient, cunning, baffling, and powerful. I've lasted years on my own gas, on my own willpower, but then my willpower was powerful enough to take me to the liquor store. This is my experience: is that on my own ideas, it may take me far, but not as far as peace and serenity and total release of the obsession to drink and use. My own ideas start creeping back in. The ideas of alcoholism talks to me in my own voice, and it'll tell me, you don't have to go to meetings, man. You haven't drank in 2-3 years. You can stop going to meetings. You worked the first step. That's enough. Like, I know. I have a perspective now that makes it silly to think that I thought I knew. That was my problem. Was alcoholism lies to us in our own voice. You only had to work the 12 step. You don't want to drink today. You're nowhere close to getting a drink. Alcohol will tell you that. Alcoholism will tell me that. It'll tell me I'm different. I'm unique. They had to work the 12 steps. I can only work the first step. Admitting I'm powerless over alcohol and my life became unmanageable. That's all I need to know. I'm never going back. Wait a second. Why is this bottle of Jack Daniels in my hand and now in my stomach? And that's how it happened for me. It's incredibly cunning, baffling, and powerful. Yes, we are strong. My dude on the phone, very strong. Me, I'm very strong. We're all strong. We're human. We're very strong animals, mentally, physically, but we're powerless over alcoholism. We have to employ a power greater than myself. So as I was saying, when I think I can solve stuff, I get stressed. So I go to a power greater than me, which is written down in a book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Practice these principles in all of your affairs and you will get these promises. Every promise of the 9th step promises in the big book have come true and continue to come true for me. Mind's Eye says, even the strongest among us has blind spots. Bro, that's not just likely, that's a fact. That's a fact. When someone says all people make mistakes, that's a fact. That is a fact. All people make mistakes. Without mistakes, we wouldn't grow. We wouldn't learn. If you never made the mistake of touching the hot stove when you were a kid, you wouldn't know not to touch a hot stove. We all make mistakes. It's called growing and learning. Blind spots, I got ADHD. The person next to me doesn't. But if we're both alcoholics, one thing or the other's going to run out. He may be able to pay more attention to his sobriety for longer. He may constantly have the thought in his head, I can't drink, for longer. But it is finite. There are constant stories of alcoholics that have either recovered or passed. Let's say there's one in the big book, a businessman, very good man. All areas of life he was capable except for drinking. So he said to himself, I'm going to quit until I'm retired. I'm going to quit drinking. He did. It was, 2 decades maybe. When he retired, said his drinking slippers came out. 4 months later, he was in the hospital. A couple years later, he was dead. Retirement age is what? 60? 65? Depending on what you're... The power greater than myself lies in these stories. It's the reason that all of us are a power greater than me alone. In a room of Alcoholics Anonymous, all of our experience is more powerful than my own experience. I don't think maybe it was a mailman. I got the majority of I got the essential details right. A man, an alcoholic, stopped on his own willpower until he retired. As soon as he picked it up, all hell broke loose. 4 months he was in the hospital. A couple of years he was dead. Alcoholism doesn't go away. It's not cured. It is treated by a daily reprieve, the 12 principles of Alcoholics Anonymous. Honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, spirituality, love, discipline, service. I myself don't want to do those things. When I'm going for number one, which is the majority of me without Alcoholics Anonymous and practicing it, I'm going out for me. Where is my next? I can prove all of them wrong. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That can last on willpower, but it's blood, sweat, and tears It's anxiety, pain, white knuckles. It is, it's hell. It's hell on earth. Alcoholism is a disease of the mind. Drinking alcohol is a symptom. And I was so desperate that I was just like, well, nothing I've ever tried works. I'm ready. I'm ready to give my will over to a power greater than me. That immediately and tangibly is Alcoholics Anonymous. A God of my understanding, I say God's will be done. I pray to God. I don't try to figure out the power of prayer. I don't try to figure out God. I just have faith that it is there. I don't try to figure it out because what do I know? With the practice of humility, I know that I know very little. That's the one thing I know. What do I know about God? I don't know anything about God. It's a power much greater than myself. In the Bible, I think it says to gaze upon God, your head explodes. So you don't need to describe God to have faith in it. You don't even need to all the time, well, especially believe in the world's religions. I personally don't believe in some of the, it's just whoever you are. I don't argue with them either. That's the point. Humility is like, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to dismiss them. I don't know shit about them, so that could be true. This could be true. That could be true. This could be true. I don't know. My ego will get in my head and start tearing apart all the religions and what they say about this, what they say about that. I could give some examples. I don't want to offend any of you. Plus, that's my old self. Through practice, I have a new way of life, a new perspective, a paradigm shift, a psychic change. I'm no longer judgmental because I'm humble, or I try to be humble. I try to practice humility. I'm also honest. I practice honesty. Honestly and humbly, I don't know if you're right. I don't know if religions are right or wrong. I don't know God. I haven't met him. I have faith there's a power greater than me because AA told me. Have faith in something, a power greater than you, to get out of your own, because that's what, you know what I realized when about the whole God thing in AA now? Because you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be anything. If you want to get sober, you have to believe in something more powerful than you. And then you got to make that leap of faith. All right, God's will be done. Not James's will. God's will, not my will, be done. I personally don't say, God answers my prayers. I personally don't say God did this or did that. But it seems to me that through putting my faith in a God of my understanding, good stuff is happening. If I were to scientifically pick that apart, I have all kinds of theories and all kinds of opinions, but it's futile to try to figure it out because, number one, my thinking is highly influenced by my disease of alcoholism. It's going to pick it apart so much to where I no longer have faith in it. It's getting me 1 inch at a time closer towards a drink because it's cunning, baffling, and powerful and patient. So I don't think, man. AA is a power greater than myself, and they told me, hand your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand him. All right, I don't understand God. My sponsor said, do you think you're God? And I said, no. And he said, well, hand it over. Because you've been putting faith in your own opinions and ideas. Hand it over. He said, what's your concept of God as you understand him? I said, I do believe that there's something incomprehensible, doesn't speak English, doesn't speak Japanese, doesn't speak. It probably works through energy. I don't know. To try to explain it I'm losing faith in it. Because check it out. It's my opinion that mankind is egotistical. Are you a man or a woman? Are you a human being? Well, you know how your ego will get away from you. All the things we think we know, and all the things, if we don't know something, we make shit up. That's basically how the human mind works. The ego thinks it deserves to know. So if we don't know something, like what happens after we die, we make shit up. I personally believe anybody with an answer about what happens after we die is doing whatever they need to do to conceptualize something they don't know. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. I do it myself. That's why it's a God of your understanding. Hand your will over to it. God's will be done. Do you know how powerful that is in my life right now? God's will be done. If I'm feeling any kind of negativity, that means if you're having a bad day, God's will be done. All of a sudden, it's like, not my will. Oh, I'm not getting this job. They're taking way too long. I can't believe they're checking for 2 speeding tickets. I might not get the job. That's my will. What I want is next to irrelevant. In the realm of God, God's earth or God's world and reality, it's me not accepting reality. Reality is God. To me, to this alcoholic, to this person, reality be done. You know what I mean? Because who among us has power over reality? Like I said, we have finite power. We can alter what we can control about reality. We can change certain things and we can't. Some realities just are. Reality be done. And then you're just like, I'm not worried about it anymore. Reality's just going to do its thing. All right, there's nothing I can do about it. And that shit puts me on a relaxation ride. I'm just relaxed. I'm not worried about the future. It doesn't matter how bleak it looks. There is one fact. I don't know the future. God's will be done. I don't care how much I think I know about what's probably going to happen. I don't know. And that's where peace and serenity comes in. That's where fear exits. And that only comes with practice, which is why it's said in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, practice these principles in all of your affairs, and you will be amazed before you are halfway through. I was amazed before I was halfway through. I was amazed as soon as I gave my best ideas about why God didn't exist or why all these religions are wrong. As soon as I said, what do I know? I don't know shit. I think I know something, and I don't. So I'm going to just hand it over to a God of my understanding. My anxiety and depression went out the window. A couple months later, I tapered off of Prozac, which is an antidepressant, and I've been just, I can't say riding high because bad days happen, but with a God of your understanding, with a higher power to put your faith in instead of your own thoughts, all anxiety and depression goes out the window. And I'm telling you this for a fact. People talk about the pink cloud and stuff. When you're early in sobriety, you get on this pink cloud when you're working the program of AA. That's because your desperation from your last drunk is still there. So you work the principles in the program as hard as you can. And that is putting you on a pink cloud. But alcoholism is patient. And it'll work at you in ways you don't even know. And that pink cloud starts to leave. And then the gray clouds come in. And then the booze comes in. Miss Ford says, the thought of there being absolutely nothing after death is the scariest, not even getting to feel yourself rest in peace. We don't comprehend it. We don't know. To me, you know how that's your opinion? You think it's scary. I don't think that's scary at all. Not existing, I think that's a lot more palatable than burning in hell for all eternity and in the flames and lake of fire. Or even heaven can be kind of intimidating. Reincarnation? What? Am I going to be a freaking... You know what I mean? All those explanations. That's probably why they call it theology. The study of all that is because they're theories. Where we go after we die, I don't, in my personal belief, and you don't have to agree with it, and you don't have to hate me for it, and you don't have to think I hate you. But my personal belief is the theories about where we go after we die is just mankind's ego. If he can't figure something out, he's going to find an answer and say, I have it. And with humility and honesty, I come to that conclusion. I can be, if I don't control myself, my ego can take charge. And I'll be like, you know what? I know enough about alcoholism. I'm going to stay sober by myself. Stop handing my will over to AA and a power greater than me. I'm pretty powerful right now. That's my ego. I'm a man. And I'm not just saying men either, ladies. I'm saying human beings are egotistical. Good night, Shades. Hey, what's up, Mike Tucker? Miss Ford didn't make her cameo appearance on planet Earth until 1988. You didn't exist for billions of years, and it didn't inconvenience you the slightest. Good point, Mike Tucker, and a surprisingly wide perspective chime in from Mike Tucker. That's right. You know what I mean? And it is subjective. That's why they call it theology, I think, is because our comprehension is limited just like our willpower. And our intellect is limited. And that's why my opinions, if I'm having opinions, and you know what makes you have a bad day is your opinions about it, your perspective. When you realize that your opinions are very objective and just like dust in the wind is what I've been realizing my opinions are. I've only had so much experience in life, and I also have human flaws, fears, desires. You know what I mean? So my opinions are based on that kind of human stuff. It's finite. What does a human do? It lives and dies. It's not all powerful. So my opinions are just they're just a product. This is how I comprehend it. And this helps me let go of, if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, what do you even know about what you're worried about? And I'll honestly investigate it. I'll do an honest and fearless inventory about what I actually know. And it usually comes down to nothing. These are all your opinions. And what are your opinions based on? Fears. Have a faith that everything will turn out, because guess what? And we've been being told this since we can hear English or whatever language we speak. We've been being told this. 90% of the things that we fear, and I think it's up to like 98, 99% of the things that worry us and make us anxious never happen in reality. And that's how powerful the ego is. That's how powerful alcoholism is. That's how powerful the human mind is to insist that they know what's coming. Is that even though we've heard that 98, 99% of the things that worry us and that we're afraid of and the situations we build in our heads never happen. And through looking back over history in psychology, they did that. And through history, it's a fact. That's a psychological fact. The vast vast majority, damn near 100% of the things we're walking around worried about and lashing out at people because we're all worried about this, that, or the other thing, never happen. Yeah, Carl, you damn straight about that. I wake up too with untreated alcoholism. I realized this week, in the book, it says pause when agitated. I realized this week, I got to pause as soon as I open my eyes in the morning. As soon as I open my eyes, my human condition and my alcoholism condition get together and just say, we're just gonna drive this mind crazy. What is he gonna do today? What are you gonna do today? What are you gonna do about your job? What are you gonna do about everything? Oh shit, your dogs are itching. What are you gonna do about that? Oh shit, there's a chipmunk in your walls. What are you gonna do about that? What are you gonna do when your electrical wires get chewed away? What are you gonna do when there's fungus and mold because of all the chipmunk shit in there? What are you gonna do? They're probably pissing in there. And I realized I got to pause and hand my will over because I don't know any of this shit. I literally don't know if that noise in my wall was a rodent or a chipmunk or whatever. I literally don't know it. I don't know it. It sounds like it's a squirrel or a chipmunk or something, but I don't know it. I remember thinking that for years, thinking a noise was a chipmunk, and I found out it was because I wasn't trimming the hedges out there and the wind was blowing it up against the vinyl siding. And that was years I was thinking it was a chipmunk. So it's proven. The shit we manifest in our mind, the fears, the anxieties, that it just damn near 100% of it never happens. What up, Noah? Relapse can be a part of your recovery only if you learn from it. So learn from it. What weren't you doing? Look at the 12 principles. Look them up right now. AA 12 principles. What are they? Siri, Google, whatever you got to do. I guarantee you'll find one you're just like, oh shit, I wasn't being humble. I wasn't serving others. I wasn't being disciplined. I wasn't being honest with myself. If any addict or alcoholic that says I can use for this weekend and quit on Monday, or I can use and not be caught, that's not integrity. Anybody that says, oh shit, my wife's gone, or oh shit, I don't have to be at work. Nobody will know if I drink here in Puerto Rico. None of my friends or family will know if I drink. That's called dishonesty, and you're not being. You don't have integrity. Integrity is you are the person you are in the mirror. That's who you are. You are the person with other people. The face you put on for other people is you. That's integrity. You do what you say what you do. Integrity, honesty, discipline. Those are three. When we relapse, those are three principles that we weren't practicing. It is a process, Noah. All we can do is practice, and with that we get progress, not perfection. You just practice, baby steps, one step at a time. You do, and start with the first one. Bro, you're powerless over drugs and alcohol. That's the first step. If you took drugs and alcohol, you're not doing the first step. And I'm not yelling at you. I'm not saying shame on you. I'm saying you got a disease, brother, and it's gonna manipulate your mind. The steps are a way out. Step number 1 is I am powerless over alcohol and my life has become unmanageable. When you say that, literally it means I can't take alcohol into my body. I can't take drugs into my body. That's what that literally means. All bets are off. I can't drink for the weekend. And then alcoholism's so slick. You'll drink for a weekend and you'll quit and go to work. I used to do it when I was 20. You'll be like, all that shit they said was wrong. I quit. Or maybe I had 2 beers that one night at the bar. I wasn't enjoying it because I was controlling it, but I did it, so I'm not powerless. False. It's so powerful that it's so powerful it's got you lying to yourself. That's how powerful it is. Noah, look at the steps. And you weren't doing step 1. I've done it a million times. Why did I drink? Step 1 and the principle behind step 1 is honesty. Why did I drink? Because I lied to myself and believed it. I can drink and I'll quit on Monday. I can drink and I'll, or I know I'm powerless, so I'm going to drink anyway. And just, no. If you say that, you don't know you're powerless. Powerlessness means just that. So, Noah, the first step is the one you got to work 100% before you move on to the others. The other ones can be worked partially before you move on to the next one, and then you work those steps, daily for the rest of my life. I'm working a personal inventory. I'm making amends when I'm wrong. I'm promptly admitting it. But step number 1 is one you have to do 100% before you move on. That means you're not drinking. That means it means you don't drink. Step number 2 is coming to believe in a power greater than yourself that can restore you to sanity. That means now that you don't drink and you want to drink still because you haven't worked the 12 steps yet, that means the power that's going to restore you to sanity, that could be your sponsor. You believe in your sponsor more than you believe in alcohol. So when you want to drink, you call your sponsor. When you start doing that, you move on to step 3 because you've already come to believe in a power greater than yourself and of alcoholism. So step number 3, hand your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand it. You're looking at basically an agnostic right now, but not anymore. I believe in a power greater than myself, most definitely, and I hand my will over to God as I understand it daily. But if you talk to me about theology and any of that stuff, you'd probably be like, you're an agnostic. And I'm like, no, bro. I believe in a power that I cannot understand or comprehend. Don't ask me to explain it. As soon as I try to put God in a box, I've lost it. I've lost faith in it. My faith is in a power that I don't have and the beginning of a comprehension for. That's how powerful it is. I believe, that's what I believe. That's what's working. And then step 4, after you have started handing your will and your life over to a power greater than you, that means you're not running the show. That means you shouldn't be restless, irritable, or discontent because you've handed your will over. Hey, I'm not even driving, man. I'm not even driving. Don't look at me. And that shit will have you so relaxed. It's better than any drug. Hey, God's will be done, man. I don't even care that we're in a traffic jam. I don't even care that our car broke down. We're walking in the rain. I don't even care. God's will be done. Once you start to see the fruit of that, you start to truly believe God's will be done, man. That's when you move into step 4. But if you're drinking and using, Noah or anybody else that has suffered a relapse lately, step 1 has to be revisited. Step 1, honesty. Honestly, I can't drink because I am completely and utterly powerless over alcohol. If I can't drink, I don't drink. Step 2 is believing that a power greater than you can restore you to sanity. That's where the that's where the miracles start happening. Because you don't believe in yourself anymore. I mean, that sounds like a dirty sentence, especially here in America. Oh, you don't believe in yourself. No, I don't believe. I believe I practice humility, so I believe I have power to do some things, and I'm not powerful. I'm not all powerful. I believe that I make mistakes. I believe I'm good. I could list the things I believe I'm good and talented and powerful at, because it's true. And that puts me right in the middle. That just means I'm not driving. I'm not going to alter reality to get us out of this storm we're in. I have no say. I have no say in whether you drink. I can't get you sober. I don't have that power. I can share my experience, and I can reap the rewards of listening to y'all's experience. Pat says, treat alcohol like an allergy. True. In the big book, The Doctor's Opinion, starts on page 1. Dr. William D. Silkworth explains how he believes that alcoholism is an obsession of the mind coupled with an allergy of the body. When we drink alcohol, we experience the phenomenon of craving, essentially an allergic reaction to the physical substance of alcoholism. It takes a lot of drunks. It takes a lot of getting drunk, time and time again, for some people, especially like me, to realize that, damn, I really am powerless over alcohol. Like what they said was true. There is no denying it. For a decade and a half, I tried all different ways to control and enjoy my drinking. Never at the same time shall those two things exist in the same room as an alcoholic. When we're controlling our drinking, we're not enjoying it. When we're enjoying our drinking, we're not controlling it. That's alcoholism right there. That's the allergy. Mike Tucker says, I can't drink because alcohol has already done too much damage to my life. True. Why do things do damage? Why does a tornado do damage? It's a power greater than we are. You're powerless. You have no power to prevent damage to your life happening. It's unmanageable. That's step one. Mike Tucker says, I did enjoy boozing, but in the end it caused more pain than pleasure. That's the definition of addiction. When the consequences of your compulsive behavior outweigh the benefits. It also says in the book, we drink because essentially we like the effect of alcohol. It's not uncommon. Every single one of us does. But the obsession starts in the mind, and where I haven't had any obsession for alcohol in the past 8 months, ever since I gave my will over to God. Hey, God's will be done, and work the rest of the steps. But that's when it happened for me, was because you know what that does? It relieves, the mental obsession is, I gotta feel better. I gotta feel better. And alcohol does it. That's the mental obsession. I feel restless, irritable, and discontent. Miserable, and I got to feel better. We're obsessed with it. We're going to do it sooner or later. We're going to relieve our misery with alcohol. The point of this stream is the medicine lies in the 12 principles and the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Sure, alcohol is a medicine for alcoholism. Sure, it relieves our symptoms. I'm no longer restless, irritable, and discontent. Yay, I'm drunk. Let's celebrate. We have a powerlessness over it. Before we know it, we've been drinking for 4 years. Every day for 4 years. Lost everything. The last thing to go is your physical life. And people are at your funeral saying he just couldn't lick it. He just couldn't lick it. He just couldn't get over it. All right, y'all. I hope you get the point. Thanks for calling in, everybody. I'll be here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night with the same call-in live stream addiction recovery experience, strength, and hope show. In summary, I started working the 12 principles in Alcoholics Anonymous, from Alcoholics Anonymous in my life on blind faith. It was essentially a test, because we got to test everything. But it was more faith than a test. It was a leap of faith. God's will be done. If I'm feeling restless, irritable, and discontent, it's me. There's something about me that's doing it. I'm thinking way too much about me. I'm worrying about what I'm going to get, what I'm going to do, how I'm going to feel, where I'm going to go. I take that out by going to an AA meeting because that's what my sponsor told me, and he's been sober for 13 years. So if he can do it, I'm going to do what he does to get what he got. If I want to remain restless, irritable, and discontent, I'll keep in my own mind. I'll keep doing what I'm doing to get what I currently have. So, in summary, you only think you got a bright idea. If time and time again, those bright ideas prove to fail, aka you're drunk again, and you're messed up again, and you're miserable again, go with a power greater than yourself. Alcoholics Anonymous and the principles. I have tested it. I have leapt into the arms of the principles, and I said, all right, let's see if these principles solve every problem. Every problem I got, I consult the principles. Turns out it does. It doesn't matter if it's a death. It doesn't matter if it's, it doesn't matter what the problem is. Working the spiritual principles and steps of Alcoholics Anonymous can solve them. If there's a problem, I'm not working one of the steps. I'm not working one of the principles. You don't want to approach that girl, or you don't want to approach that guy that you really like and you just want to do dirty things with? Why don't you exercise the principle of courage? You know what I mean? Go forward in the face of fear. Exercise the principle of honesty, humility. Girls like those. Girls like those principles in a man. Before you know it, y'all are banging it out in the back of your Mustang or whatever. All right, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow. That's right, Mind's Eye. Michael, go somewhere that's out of your own head. That's the ticket. You don't have to go anywhere. All you got to do is take your will and throw it over to God. Just the word God, if that's all you got. I don't care if you believe it or not. I didn't either. Take everything you're worried about and throw it out there and just be like, God's will be done. I'm sick of it. I don't care what happens. Then you don't have to go anywhere. You can literally be anywhere. Shaolin monks stand on hot coals and shit because they're like, God's will be done. You know, the pain is just in your mind. It's nothing. I can stand on hot coals. God's will be done. My feet will get burnt. I have accepted it. It's a freaking invincibility cloak. All right, I hope my message got across. God's will be done. If you can't sleep tonight, you're worried about something, just say God's will be done. You know what? It might turn out good. It might turn out bad, but it's God's will. I got nothing to say in it. There's nothing I can do, especially lying here in my bed. God's will be done. You'll be snoozing before you know it. It's happened to me before. All right. Keep it clean, keep it real, keep doing the damn thing. One day at a time. Peace.